Welcome to the Evergreen State, Washington. Now, as you can see, there's a big mountain behind me, and that is Mount Rainier, which is 14,410 feet tall. And Washington is an amazing place, tons of really cool views, and it's almost about the opposite of Texas. Everything here is green. There's snow up on the mountain, you can see. It's not as smoldering hot in midday. It's still pretty hot, but it's not too hot. Now with me on this adventure, I've got all sorts of stuff. I've got my knife here, and I've got tons and tons of layers in here because I'm planning to go up around Mount Rainier, and it will get pretty cold due to the high altitude and snow up there. And this place is very amazing. I've already seen some wildlife. There's something making whooping sounds over there in the tree or on the ground. I've seen deer, I've seen little bees and stuff, I've seen birds, so it's really cool. So, what do you say we get some adventuring? So I've been hiking through this little area, and as you can see, there's a very big tree right there. The two main types of trees in this little area are the Douglas fir and the eastern red cedar. That's it. And along this trail, it looks very much like a rainforest, which is cool. See all this moss, and this moss on this log is very soft. It's very damp everywhere, and they've also got these cool little ferns here. I'll show you some other ferns. There's a big one, soft ferns. But the cool thing is when they're little babies, they're all curled up, as you can see. All curled up. There's some cooler ones too, but yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you. It's like a little rainforest in here. Very amazing, very green place. Very different from Texas. So, when you're hiking around, there's lots of natural beauties that you can come across. Now, one thing I found really cool about Washington State is all this moss. You can find it on rocks, you can find it next to the water. There's a little stream thing, some grasses. Here's another little different type of moss, little streams. But yeah, it's just a really cool area. So, how big are the trees here? Well, let's take a look. There's one that fell over, and this is the root system, and you can tell how long it's been here because if you look up, there's a tree right there growing out of the tree that fell down. So that's pretty impressive. Now there's also plants and moss around here, and we can go on a little walk in here. It gets all dark and scary, but yeah, so that's just an example of how big the trees are here. Maybe we'll see some that are still in the ground. Okay, you guys, so I've come across this big giant tree here. As you can see, it's humongous, and it's probably hundreds, if not thousands of years old. It's got these big branches on it. Like, look how big it is compared to me. Like, there's my hand. Yeah, it's huge. But this tree is very, very old, very, very big. And it's always cool to find little places like this where nature hasn't been touched very much. The trees are still big and living, and they haven't been cut down. And yeah, so it's a very big cedar tree. So you people with allergies, you might want to stay away from this big giant. So here I have come across a very cool little pool of water. Now it may look normal at first, but it is actually a hot springs, a natural hot springs. And it comes from way up there, so it's not at its hottest point right now because it's been able to flow and cool down. But it's very cool, and the way that hot springs work is there's a magma pocket or magma chamber underwater, and the geothermal heat will rise up since heat rises, and it'll warm up the water. So let's see. It's a nice little foot bath. And farther up you can see some steam coming off the water. Oh, it feels just like a hot tub. It's a bit burny at first, but get used to it. Probably 100 degrees, maybe a little more. But yeah, it's really nice. And when you find little things like this, try not to disturb it too much. Like, don't jump in and swim around and dig in there. Maybe put your feet in like I am, or stick your finger in. And it's a real cool little stream. It's like a spa. He's chasing the other butterfly. Oh, there you go. So, what I've got here is pepper spray. Now, it's not any old pepper spray. It's meant for bears during bear attacks. And it's always good to be prepared if you're in an area with bears like I am in Washington. In the area, there's black bears and grizzly bears. Now, bears don't typically try and attack you to eat you or anything. There's a few different scenarios that could go down with a bear attack. The first one is if you are cooking, they can smell that food, they can smell the clothes that you cooked in even after you're done cooking. So they could come looking for food and they'll find nothing, and you'll be there, and you could either scare them or they'll be mad. Another one is if you're around cubs, especially with grizzly bears, they can get very angry. Grizzly bears are larger than black bears, so they can do more damage. But it's important to watch out for both. So food, cubs, and the most likely scenario is you're walking around a trail and there's trees right here, you're coming around and there's a bear in his habitat doing his bear stuff, whatever bears do, scratching his back on a tree or something, and you startle him. He's gonna be scared, he'll think of you as a threat, he'll be defensive, take a swing at you, and if you're lucky, he'll leave then, but that still does a lot of damage. So if a bear comes charging at you, you have precisely 3 seconds to reach back, grab the loop on your hip, pull it out, pop the safety cap back, and spray. And you typically want to go for the eyes on the bear. Now, it's not my priority to hurt a bear, but if I am endangered, I'd rather spray the bear and have him in pain temporarily, and he'll run back into the forest and recover, than have me mauled and maybe die. So it's always safe to be prepared. And what they say to do is give it a test. It's meant to have a 1 second spray or so, because if you have it, it's pretty much useless. If it's a defective one, you spray it and it doesn't work, you're like, uh-oh. Or if you don't know how to use it, because if you look at this thing, you've got to know that you pull back, because if you go in here and pull, it's not going to happen. The bear's got you. You got to reach down, pull up, and then push down the trigger. And put the safety cap back on, because you don't want it going off on your side or anything. And the hole is down here, so if you're expecting it to be up here and you aim it up, it's gonna shoot right down and like hit him in the furry neck part, and it won't burn him. So, well, it might, but not as much as you'd like to, because it's just a short little pain. It won't send him running. And this stuff is not meant to be sprayed on your backpack or your tent or anything to keep bears away, because it's like normal mace, normal pepper spray, when you spray a robber or something. So what you gotta do is you gotta have 3 seconds. You're startled, you're probably scared, so you gotta reach back, grab it, pop it up, and spray. It's supposed to shoot up to 30 feet. Be careful. I'm doing it in a controlled environment, so I'm not gonna have me downwind so it sprays back in my eyes, but let's see how good it works. fishing in the river behind me, and look what I caught. Take him out the fly, just a little dry fly I was using, and it is barbless, so it doesn't affect the fish. And it looks like, oh, he fell down. I'll wash him out. And he looks like a little rainbow trout, as you can see. Trout are very slimy and floppy, so you gotta be careful with them. Obviously this guy is too small to keep, so I am going to let him go. But trout are cold water fish like salmon, so they're fun to fly fish for. Hiking through here, and I came across this little spot. As you can see behind me, there are a lot of fallen trees. There it is. But I'm gonna try and get you guys a better view. So I've hiked a ways down now. There is a clear trail of where the debris flow occurred, knocking down all these trees into the river. And it was due to record rainfall. So everything got caught up by water and flowed down and piles up, and just a huge chain reaction. And you can already see that some trees are growing back there. It's not always man that changes nature. Sometimes it's nature that changes nature. But I'm gonna keep moving. Okay, you guys, so I have come across a cool little thing that caught my eye right here and right here. Now, these trees didn't naturally fall. As you can see, there's a very weird hourglass sort of shape that's broken in half because the weight was too much to hold. But there's a certain little creature that lives around here that did this. The beaver! Now, the beaver is a very funny little creature. They've got a tail like a platypus, this big flat waffle print looking tail, and these big sharp teeth for biting. Now, like all rodents, beavers' teeth are always growing, so in order to keep them from growing into their gums and making it uncomfortable for them, they have to chew on wood to wear down their teeth. Like if you have a hamster or a mouse or a guinea pig, you give them little chew sticks to chew on. So that's what the beaver is doing here. You can see right here that the beaver's little teeth marks are there from where they slid in and just chopped it. And you can really tell how much work and power it took to do this. You can see where the teeth were scraping at right there. Because, I mean, look at this. He had to start down here, he had to chew and 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 chew, and then it broke in half. You can see down here there's lots of little wood chips that were once part of the tree, but it looks like this happened a while ago. And here's the little one. Probably didn't take as much work, but still a lot of work. So yeah, cool little things like that to keep your eye out for. I walked down the river. I couldn't find this dam anywhere, so it might have gotten washed away in a flood. Because this was probably a while ago that this happened. But I am going to keep moving and keep my eye out for other cool little things like that. So, I've been hiking for a little bit, and I'm hiking around Mount Rainier area. And as you can see, there's a lot of this mysterious stuff. We don't get this in Texas very often. This is snow, and it's very good for making snowballs right now. Very easy to compact and form and whatnot. But as you can see, there's some fog rolling in behind me, and Mount Rainier can sort of create its own weather patterns. well, not really patterns, out of the blue changes of weather. So 5 minutes ago it was real sunny and nice out, and now the fog's rolling in. Next 5 minutes could be sunny, it could start snowing, it could start raining, or there could even be a whiteout, and that's because the fog is around the same color as the snow. So hikers get lost very often when the fog rolls in real thick, because you have basically no sense of direction. And I'm gonna keep hiking and see if I can't get a better view of Mount Rainier, and hopefully the fog will clear up so we can get a nice view of this giant volcano. So I've hiked around this little area, and as you can see, the fog has completely cleared, and it's a perfect view of Mount Rainier. And right now we're at 5,400 feet, and in case you were wondering, Mount Rainier is 14,410 feet tall, give or take a few feet. But if you can see, there's a blue tint to Mount Rainier. Back over there, it's very distinct. And what that is a glacier. Now, if you don't know what a glacier is a big block of ice. And how they're formed is snow falls each year, or in this case probably year round because it's at such a high altitude, and it starts packing together because all that weight just packs together, and eventually it makes a big hard block of ice. See, it's a lot harder than just this powdery snow. So that's how a glacier's made. And glaciers are always moving. It's like a slow moving river. They can move anywhere from a few inches to a few feet per year. So there's another glacier. So the one that you can see is called Nisqually, and the one over there is called Couts. Now that one's pretty hard to see, but it has broken off on a few spots. You can see where it's really sharp edged. But what happens is, since it's moving, it'll come out farther, and the weight just becomes so much that it breaks, and that can cause an avalanche because pieces of ice fall down, it grabs more snow and rocks, and that can be dangerous if you're a climber. Now there's many dangers to mountaineering, and one, avalanches. Two, it's so cold that you can get hypothermia. It's very rough terrain. You can also have dangers with crevasses or crevices, which are in glaciers, and it's when they crack and it makes a huge crack that's easy to fall into. And then there's whiteouts, which is when the fog moves in, it's the same color as the snow, so you have basically no sense of direction, and you can get lost easily by that. And another thing I wanted to mention is snow is white, it's very reflective, and you can actually get your eyes sunburned. You can burn your corneas, and that's called snow blind. So if you're exposed to the highly reflective white snow for a certain amount of time, it can actually feel like there's sand in your eyes, and it's very painful, it's hard to see, and it can cause very big dangers if you're mountaineering, because your eyes are very important. And I'm gonna keep moving. So here we have, it's called red snow, and you'll notice it has a red tint to it, and it's also known as watermelon snow or blood snow. And what it is actually a cold living algae, or algae, however you prefer to pronounce it. And I'll show you a little close up. So there it is, it's red, but it is poisonous, so you should not eat it. Some people say it smells like fresh cut watermelon, but I don't know, I think it smells like snow to me. But there it is again, and it can temporarily stain clothing, so don't go with your nice white shirt that your mom just bought you and go lay in the red snow. But yeah, so that's a cool little thing to keep your eye out for when you're hiking on trails. Be careful when you're hiking in the snow.